So now we move on to Entourage, directed by someone. Look, I'm going to be honest with you here, right now, straight out the gate. I hate this movie. I hate every single minuscule aspect of it. Every single atom of this movie I hate. I despise, I loathe, and I cannot physically stand. It's a movie that makes me want to vomit bile and acid for how much I loathe and detest it. And the only reason why this review isn't going to descend into a rant is because it's been a week or two since I've seen it, and my rage has diffused ever so slightly. It is based upon the TV show of the same name, shares the same cast, and there's no real point in me going through all that. If you've seen the TV show, you know who's going to be in it. No great surprises as far as that's concerned. There's a fistful of cameos. I use the word cameo in its loosest physical form, as it's just almost literally a walk-on part. Characters walk on, they maybe say a line, and then they walk off. Gary Busey does Gary Busey things, he says wacky, silly stuff, then walks off to get his paycheck. Liam, you stole my daughter, Neeson, sticks his middle finger up at one of the characters, then drives off to collect his check. Mark Wahlberg appears looking embarrassed to be in the movie, even though he's the executive producer of the movie. Looking embarrassed to be there, he does his bit, walks off and gets the check. I mean, really, oh good grief. This movie starts off with a beer advert. And I don't mean that it's got a sequence that opens up the movie which looks like a beer advert. I mean literally, this movie starts off with a beer advert. Whenever you go to the cinema, you see the trailers, you see the adverts before the movie. Then the big age rating title card thing comes up, which tells you the director, who to blame, the BBFC rating and all that. That fades out, and then a beer advert starts. And I'm thinking, okay, has something gone wrong with the projection booth? Was this supposed to be played before this or something? Then another beer advert comes on, and this time they're advertising that particular beer and a burger, which I found, hang on a minute, this cinema doesn't serve that particular brand of beer, or does burgers, what's going on? And then the movie began, and then we're treated to another beer advert, which was the entire duration of the movie. Look, I understand that product placement is a necessity within movies these days, and I can understand it. I can tolerate it once it's done logically, when it's done subtly. You know, a character goes into a bar, orders a certain brand of beer in the same kind of way you would do in any other walk of life, in any other day of your life, or anybody else's life for that matter. I can understand in which rational and logical, not when it takes up the majority of the movie, for Christ's sake. Well, not when the first 5-10 minutes are for adverts for Budweiser, for Christ's sake. It's ridiculous. Oh my good God. Look, to talk about the movie itself sucks. I mean, good God. It is loud, laddie, puerile, sexist, juvenile, out of touch, totally without merit, sexist, homophobic, repulsive, agonising, detestful, hate-filled. Oh, I hate it. I hate this movie. There's no goodness within it. There's no joy to be had. There's nothing about which is at all enjoyable. Not on any foreseeable level. Now, I can tolerate movies that are about bad people. Movies about horrible, nasty, totally repulsive human trash of people, nasty, horrible, poisonous people. I can take that. And usually within those movies, they're doing something with those characters. They're exploring them. They're trying to understand what makes people this horrible and makes them this nasty. It's doing something to make us look at those characters in new and interesting ways. Or it's taking those characters, putting them in a situation that makes them themselves reflect upon themselves and try to evolve and grow as human beings. Or maybe they don't change by the end of the movie, but it still gives us an opportunity to think about these characters, to understand them and reflect upon them within our own waking lives. Within this movie, it does nothing with the characters whatsoever. Our characters start off rich and famous, and they end the movie even more rich and even more famous. The main big storyline to this movie is about the characters trying to make a movie. Even though the big suggestion by this movie from a dramatic standpoint is that the movie's going to suck, it's going to tank, and it's going to make them reevaluate their lives, then by the end of the movie, their life turns around and the day is saved, crisps and cupcakes for everybody. But that isn't the case. As soon as any kind of drama, any kind of jeopardy is introduced within this movie, it's almost immediately annihilated, blasted, atomized beyond all belief. majority of the movie, they were thinking the movie's going to be bad, the movie's going to be terrible, they need more money, they've got a horrifically over budget, it should be $100 million movie, now they need $15 million. Yeah, because we've all been there, we've all found ourselves in a situation where we need a little bit more millions, we need an extra $15 million, we've all been there, haven't we, ladies and gentlemen? Good God. And of course, the character Ari Gold, the guy that's played by the fella out of Mr. Selfridge, or whatever, he's concerned the movie's going to be terrible, and it's going to tank, and it's going to be awful, he really wants to see this movie, but the rest of the cast are keeping it away from him. Then he managed to get a hold of a copy of the movie, and the movie sucks and it's terrible, but it turns out it's not sucks and it's not terrible, it turns out it's the greatest movie ever made. And then they have to try and secure the finance, and they can't secure the finance. Can they secure the finance? Certain characters got to secure the finance, so they secure the finance. No, this acts secure the finance. Oh God. And that's just the main storyline. We have other storylines with a character who's cheating on his wife, or not his wife, or his ex-wife. He's sleeping around, and he may have got 2 women pregnant, and he may have just got an STD, and oh no, he hasn't got people pregnant, he hasn't got an STD. Oh my God. My word. Look, before this movie was due to come out, I was going to do a top and bottom list of the worst and the best movies I've seen this year. As soon as the movie came along, it threw me to 6. My entire list of the worst movies this year, I had to redo. That's why I've not been around this much, because my entire list, everything I planned, everything I hoped for, was destroyed by this stupid, horrible movie. I have nothing good to say about this movie. It is terrible. It is awful. Maybe fans of the show will really, really like it. And maybe when they grow up, they can watch real movies and act like real human beings. And they won't get to the age of Drama Joe, or whatever his name is, and still think it's okay to be repulsive towards women, to act in such ridiculously juvenile ways long into the later years of their life. This is a movie which sadly illustrates an aspect of some modern day society which I really, really loathe and despise, and does nothing interesting with it in any way, shape and form. I hate this movie, avoid it at all costs. Good God.